We got a video by the anime room. Yuki Tsukumo was right, and that's the problem. And I mean, yeah, pretty much. I agree. I do agree. I mean, she literally only said there were two options, right? And Suguru Geto decided to go with the extreme option, right?
The character in Jujutsu Kaisen who's considered one of the strongest in the series, but she's not the one fighting the hardest. In fact, she might be the one who stopped believing in fights altogether. And today we're going to look at the psychology of Yuki Tsukumo, the girl that a lot of
Yuki was honestly like pretty smart. I felt like she was kind of like enlightened, similar to Kenjaku. Like she's probably just a little bit less smart than Kenjaku, essentially.
people blame for Gato's psychological shift, but also someone who understood
But her whole character, like she's known for doing research and all that. Like her IQ should be pretty high, like canonically.
the world of Jujutsu Kaisen in a way almost no one else did. Be sure to hit that like button and let's get started. See, most sorcerers in Jujutsu Kaisen are trapped in the system that Gato was talking about. They do exactly what they're told. They follow orders, they exercise curses, and they play their roles over and over again, just like how Gato said. But Yuki, she looked at the entire system and basically said, nah. And that's what makes her so interesting, not just as a character, but psychologically. Because Yuki didn't walk out of weakness, she walked away because she saw something deeper, something most people inside the system never stop to question. And Yuki was questioning what if the system itself is the problem, because once you start asking that question, everything changed. Most sorcerers spend their entire life fighting curses. That's their job, that's their purpose, and usually that's just their identity, right? But Yuki Tsukumo isn't like that. She doesn't just fight curses, she questions why they exist in the first place. And that single shift in perspective is what
Yeah.
separates her from almost every other character in the series. Because while everyone else is focused on surviving the system, Yuki is trying to understand it and maybe even break it. Because at some point, Yuki came to this realization that most people avoid their entire lives. The system that she was part of didn't actually solve anything. Curses are born from human negativity, right? So no
Yep.
matter how many you exercise, more will always come back. Which means the job of a sorcerer is a never ending job. And that the job is no longer ending the job, it's just managing it. And psychologically, that changed everything because once you realize that, the meaning behind your actions start to fade. Imagine dedicating your whole life into something that can never truly be fixed, only repeated. That doesn't create motivation, that
It's
creates
different, man.
distance. And this is where most people misunderstand Yuki. They think that she's lazy or irresponsible or good for nothing, like the higher up said.
I'm surprised people would even think that. Like, I feel like overall throughout the series, we just didn't get enough time with Yuki, but I mean, I rarely see any like Yuki slander or any memes about her.
Or just do her own thing. But that's not what's happening. Yuki isn't
If anything, all I see is just people simping for Yuki, and that's about it.
apathetic. She is detached. Apathy is when you stop caring. Detachment is when you care, but you no longer believe your actions matter. And that mindset, that doesn't come from weakness, it comes from awareness. Yuki didn't reject the system because she didn't care, she rejected it because she understood it too well. Where most sorcerers ask, how do I kill curses more efficiently? Yuki was asking something completely different. How do we stop curses from existing at all? And that question changed everything because now you're thinking like a soldier, you're thinking like someone's trying to rewrite reality. But then that brings one major problem, and that's when you start thinking like that, you stop fitting into the world around you. Because systems aren't built to be questioned, they're built to be maintained. And Yuki, she
100%.
becomes a threat to that. And this is exactly why her conversation with Suguru Gato matters so much. Because when Yuki has that conversation with Gato, she doesn't just give him information, she gives him a new lens to see the world. She introduces the idea that curses come from humans, and if you eliminate the source, you eliminate the problem. Now, Yuki and Gato take that idea into complete different directions. Yuki explores possibilities, Gato spirals into extremism and becomes a killer. But the important part is this: she didn't create Gato's mindset, she exposed it. She gave him a question his mind wasn't ready to handle, and once that question was there was no going back. There's a hidden cost to seeing things clearly, and that cost is isolation. Because once you realize something fundamentally is broken, it becomes harder to connect with people who are still living inside it. You start to feel separate, not better, just different. And then Yuki embodies that
Bro, Geto should have just went with the second option and try and just make every human in Japan a sorcerer or something, or make them learn how to control cursed energy.
perfectly. She doesn't stay rooted into the jujutsu world. She travels, she moves freely, and on the surface, that looks like independence, but psychologically, it's distance. Because staying close would mean constantly engaging with something that she no longer believes in. So, to really understand Yuki, you have to compare her to others. For example, Yuji wants to save people in front of him, Gojo wants to change the system from within, and Yuki, she
Yeah.
wants to eliminate the system entirely. She's not reacting, she's questioning the foundation, and that's why she feels different from everyone else.
Honestly, both Yuki and Gojo had like great ideas about how to kind of just change the system or change the world or whatever.
And then here comes the uncomfortable truth. If Yuki is right, if the entire Jujutsu world is just an endless cycle, because if it's true, then everyone else is just maintaining something broken, and Yuki, she's the only one trying to escape it. But being right doesn't mean being understood. It usually means the opposite. Yuki Tsukumo isn't just powerful, she's someone who outgrew the world she exists in, and that's a dangerous place to be because when you understand the system too well, you don't just gain clarity, you lose your place in it. So the real question isn't was Yuki right? It's what happens to someone who can no longer believe in the world around them. And if that were you, would you keep fighting or would you walk away and be like her, did what she did? Subscribe for more psychological breakdown because Jujutsu Kaisen, the deepest battles aren't physical, they're mental.
Oh yeah, 100%, bro. Jujutsu Kaisen can get deep when you really like explore the overall themes and messages, honestly. Yeah, man. Yeah, Yuki Tsukumo was right. She was.